Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. If you don't know already, my name is Christiana Davidson. I'm a psychotherapist and a hypnotherapist, and I specialize in the area of childhood trauma, family dysfunction, narcissistic family systems, and the impact of this on us as adults. Now, today we're going to be looking at something really important, actually. I find in the world at the moment there's quite a lot of focus about people becoming self-sufficient. And when I say that, there's sort of a sense of saying that we should be able to meet all our own needs ourselves, in order that we're not looking for anything from anybody else, and that's what it means to be healthy. So it's along the lines of something like this. You may have found yourself at times saying things like, "Oh, I hate it when I feel so needy in my relationship or in my friendships, because really I shouldn't need anything or anyone out there to make me happy. It's my responsibility to make me happy." Does that resonate with you? And I wonder what your thoughts are on that. If you're watching, please leave your comments. That would be wonderful. You see, that statement for me, in the area that I work in, is quite understandable from somebody who's come from a dysfunctional narcissistic family system where the child's needs are not top priority. In fact, for the child to have needs like, especially emotional needs, is often a burden on the parent. So a narcissistic type parent, if a child has a tantrum, is just so annoyed at the interruption to their day, so annoyed that they've got to deal with this, and often they don't know how to deal with it, that they end up sort of punishing the child or blaming them or threatening them. So the child comes to learn that to have emotional needs, deep emotional needs, are not something that makes them lovable. That in order to be lovable, they have to meet their own needs. Just go off and play, or a child going to the parent for some kind of comfort and being met with, "Oh, not now, I'm too busy," or the parent not actually wanting to spend any time with them can feel like that too. Like there's no sense of the parent wanting to get to know them or understand them. That can also lead to this belief that, my emotional needs, and the need of having that connection is something that makes me unlovable. And that's exactly what many of my clients experience in relationship. They go into relationship and they find that they are sent into what we would call an attachment sort of trigger. Their attachment system gets triggered in the same way it was as a child. So, for example, somebody who has come from a narcissistic dysfunctional family will often present with an anxious attachment style. Now, what is this? Where does this all come from? So very briefly, without going into too much detail here, attachment theory was John Bowlby, the British psychiatrist that, studied young children, him and Mary Ainsworth together, and they discovered, these core attachment needs in infants, needs for security, attunement, eye contact, skin contact, that the parent is a safe base, that they're consistent and sensitive to their needs. And if all of those elements are present, then the child develops a secure attachment style, which is what healthy relating is. However, if those things are not present, then there are two other main types of style which will develop in the child. A very frequent one is the anxiously attached child, the anxiously attached then adult, which is sort of what we're looking at today. But there's also another style, which is the avoidant style. And also alongside these two is a very small group that present with both anxious and avoidant, known as the fearful avoidance. So you see, the thing is, in romantic relationships especially, excuse me, we're programmed to relate to others as a result of the care we had as a baby. That's generally the main cause of how we relate in adult relationships, although later experiences can also impact that. So, for example, if your parents were sensitive, they were available, they were responsive, you're going to develop a secure attachment. If your parent was inconsistent, not so responsive, or intermittently responsive, or not really present, you're going to develop an anxious attachment. If your parent was rigid, distant, or unresponsive, just not really interacting with you, chances are you're going to develop an avoidant attachment style. Now, when we talk about this, it's primarily in terms of how the primary caregiver is in relationship with the baby, with the child, and not so much the secondary caregiver. So usually it's the mother-infant relationship that forms the dominant aspect of the attachment style in the adult. So all of us really are looking for that sense of secure attachment with somebody. That's all we really want. Even the avoidant type of person, type of attachment style is looking for a sense of security in relationship. It's just they all go about it in different ways. So the anxiously attached is kind of the one that's like hyper vigilant, like always on alert, looking for different body language and interpreting them, or sort of creating stories about, oh gosh, they haven't texted me for the last 5 hours, this must mean this, and then they spiral off, and they it's a very sort of anxious, insecure, needing closeness a lot of the time to reassure, needing that sort of sense of reconnection with the loved one, to know that they're okay, they're safe, they're not going to be abandoned. And you can see the little child there. It's almost like you get a window into the experience of that little child when they were anxious about their mother's love. Were they going to be loved in this moment or not? When she was angry, were they left and dropped, or so if this is what you experience, a sense of being in relationships and it triggering this deep insecurity in you, and this sort of natural drive to keep re-establishing connection with your partner in order to feel okay, I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with you, that this is simply an attachment style that was internalized in childhood as a means of coping. That's all it is. The thing is, now as an adult, though, we can begin to understand it, and we can begin to take action, particularly in inner work, which I do with my clients, to alleviate the stress of that inner child within you that's still seeking out mother in adult relationships. Now, what I wanted to say was, this whole concept of being, self-sufficient, of the anxiously attached person, finally finding security within themselves and not needing anybody else to make them feel happy and secure. That's not biologically sound. It's not scientifically sound, actually. And this is what Bowlby's evolutionary attachment theory suggested, or expressed rather. We are wired to be in relationship. We're actually wired to be dependent on others. That's not a bad thing. It's how we're designed. However, when that natural design, that natural, healthy, beautiful, balanced relationship with another can come together, that's life-giving. When that is not when it is not life-giving at the start, that's where these problems come in. So if you are somebody that is experiencing anxiety in your relationships and a need to sort of send text messages, or a need to have some kind of contact, or that's all very, very normal, and it's a need actually that you should have. It's a need that is very okay to express to your partner. It's not that you need to shut off from that and beat yourself up from it. It's about actually sharing of yourself with your partner, that look, this is my inner child, looking to heal. And then for you, it's also interesting to discover your partner's inner child. What was their attachment style, and how are we triggering each other here? So this is never ever about sort of self-blame and shaming yourself. That's got to stop. We've got to approach this now with the greatest compassion, because we're dealing with a traumatized little child here who is in search of compassion and empathy, and security. And as adults, we can do that for ourselves, but it's also something that we are meant to experience in relationship. That's what relationship is about. It really is meant to give us a sense of that too. Thank you, everybody. If you have any comments, please leave them in this below rather, and if you'd like to work with me, please do reach out. I've got the most amazing program, 11 weeks. It's going to transform you. It's so powerful. You will not be the same again by the end of it, I guarantee that. Okay, everybody, have a lovely day, whatever you're doing, and thank you for watching. Take care. Bye now.